Hey, y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm here with Squeaks.
Squeaks. New mic stuff, man. New mic energy.
We're also here with Thomas.
What's going on, everybody? That was so crisp. It just hit new levels, hit new decibels in my ear.
Already working. I'm starting to give a shout out to
Focusrite. I want to give a shout out to Focusrite for Squeaks' new audio interface. A link in the description if you guys want to grab one. You see how sexy it sounds, and then they're like, "Oh, I want to sound like that too." Boom, Focusrite. Go in the description. So I want to give a quick context going on around Geek Freaks. Next episode is going to be our Halloween episode. I'm not sure what that means yet, but we're probably going to do some horror movie stuff. We typically do that. Then after that, it's going to be BlizzCon. So we're going to probably drop an extra Geek Freaks where we're going to do just our BlizzCon pre-show, which we've done in the past, where we talk about what we want to see, what we hope to see, what we're excited about. Then while we're there, we do a live quote unquote recording every night of BlizzCon. We do it from the hotel room, and we're all fucking exhausted. Yeah. It's so hard. And then we do the post show. So it's all BlizzCon from going for the next couple weeks. So just a heads up on that, guys. It is easily the funnest thing that we do. So we're happy to share it with you guys. And then if you guys have any ideas for the Halloween episode, let me know, because I think we've done top 5 horror, top 5. Yeah. I think we've done all those. So we definitely something new.
Yeah.
But let's pull something out of the geek box. Here we go. First off, if you were a wizard, which spell would you use the most? What do you guys think? Squeaks, let's go with you. What do you think?
Okay,
can I D&D now?
Can I change spell into crafting of potions?
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm gonna do the love potion, baby. Okay, so now that I got this sexy new crispy voice, you're all listening to me. Now it's a little bit of it doesn't really reel him in. So let me drink. Oh, this is gonna sound bad, but take a little bit of this.
You sounded like Rufus from Gen V.
Yes, yeah.
That's where I was going. But yeah, that's what I would do. Oh shit.
Man, that would have been so helpful, I think, in high school. I'm past that being useful now, but
man, but that's what it would be.
All, but yeah.
Geek Freaks wants to officially say we do not suggest you force love potions on women.
Not at all.
Just so we are on the same page. No rufusing.
Unless you're Hermione Granger, then yeah.
Oh no, he's still doing it. Yeah, shit. I don't know which one I would use, honestly. I don't know enough wizard spells. I love Fireball in D&D because it's just so messy that you basically burn everything around you. So I like the idea of having such a kick-ass spell, but then you have to be real careful with it. I'm gonna say Fireball. I don't know when I would use it, but you never know. And you're just screw this elementary school and take out everything. Pretty cool.
Oh, that's a little dark too nowadays.
Yeah. We're going to the Thomas. Let's see where you go with it.
I know.
This is really starting to become...
Both could be controversial.
When I see those kids doing that Fortnite dance, that's when I'm like, Fireball.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think I'm going to have to go with Wingardium Leviosa just because it's fun to say. And also, if I could lift heavy shit and then just push it places, I think that would be useful.
Except for when your friends are like, "Hey, I'm moving. Can you come to my house this weekend?" You get a bunch of those lining up then.
Yeah. And next thing you know, you're the only friend that shows up, or that was even invited, really, because you could do all the work. So
yeah,
that's true.
I can picture it being lazy, though, sitting on the couch, just having the shit fly to you so you can, do whatever. Controller, drinks.
Man. Yeah. I want to do as little work as possible. And then, you know what? If my friends need it for moving, free pizza, free beer. So why not?
Yeah. It's the pickup rules. If you have the pickup, you at least get free beer out of it.
Yeah.
That's what Daniel is for us, really. All right. So moving on to the news.
The thing's out of the fucking shop cover.
Deadpool 3 is delayed indefinitely. So just a heads up, it was in November. They moved it up to May. And now they're saying it's delayed and they don't have a time. Do we think we're going to get more delays across all the MCU? Or we just kind of this is the first one up, so they're just going to focus on this one? What do you think, Thomas?
I think definitely. If we're not getting any end in sight for the actor strike, then yeah, I'd say so. Which I don't think is a bad thing. Listen, we were going to get it early and now we're getting it. Who knows again? If it still comes out before November, that's earlier than the initial release date. I'm cool with that. It's fine. I think that if anything, they're probably going to switch places with Captain America Brave New World, I think.
They're talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's finished with principal photography, where Deadpool is only halfway done. So if they could swap it around and then not completely ruin the story, I'm all for it.
I think Deadpool's too important right now. I think Deadpool 3 is one of the most important Marvel movies in the next like year or two.
Isn't that weird to say,
a lot of
though?
the Fox stuff. I know it is.
I feel like it was so weird. Like, it all rides on Deadpool. It's just so random, but...
But when they reveal Hugh Jackman's on the scene, like, okay, hold on, let's take this shit seriously. This is important now.
Yeah.
We have to make sure to pay attention.
Yeah, and especially when they're hanging out with everybody's favorite girl in Tay-Tay, Travis Kelce's girlfriend. I think, you can't screw that up if she's going to be Dazzler.
That's what it is. Dazzler. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think, right? Was it Dazzler in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or am I wrong?
There was a nod to her. I don't remember Dazzler ever being in the show. That'd be tight though. I might be wrong. It's been a while since I watched it.
Squeaks, I know you're a big Taylor Swift fan. Are you excited to have Taylor
man,
in the MCU?
I am so sick of hearing Taylor Swift's name every Sunday. Okay,
bro, you and my wife right now.
Oh my gosh, man!
You gotta start a haters club. She's like, yeah. They put her on ESPN, like on one of their Instagram posts, and my wife is like, "Why is she on ESPN? This is she was more mad than me." I was like, "Hey, the guy's playing insane." So
today, I'm gonna add this in real quick. I'm gonna add this in today on I think it was CBS. They actually put up one of those they do the lower third graphics for stats, and they literally did before Taylor and after Taylor throwing percentages, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'm having fun with it too. Like, I don't care, whatever. Taylor Swift's decent. I don't really give a shit. But I just think it's like, calm down, NFL. You can't just totally bootstrap yourself to this girl.
They're just riding this wave of whatever views and whatnot they can get off of using Taylor Swift's name.
But if they ever break up, hopefully they don't. But if they ever break up, then the NFL's going to fall apart. They go bankrupt because of a breakup.
Oh my gosh. No, they're destined to break up. Come on, dude. How many breakup songs does Taylor Swift have? They're going to add another
music,
one.
Yeah,
that's when she makes a new album, right? Like every time she breaks up. But I mean, I will say she's also crushing it at the box office too. Like, Killers of the Flower Moon didn't dethrone her. Like,
that's nuts.
The girl's a powerhouse. So, you know what? It makes sense that the NFL would do it. I would do it too. If she was like, I like Geek Freaks Podcast, and be like, yeah, we love Taylor Swift too.
Every post would be Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how fast I'm about to edit Squeaks out of this?
You're just going to change my wording. It's going to sound like your voice over me. Just say, we love Taylor Swift. Yeah, exactly.
I love Taylor Swift.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Yeah. So any final thoughts real quick before we move forward on the delays going for the MCU? I think they're kind of a good thing just because I want Marvel to take a second look at all their stuff anyway. So what do you think, Squeaks?
Oh, I think it's just a little bit, I think it is inevitable for all the movies to have some type of delay. But with Deadpool being highlighted, that's the one we're kind of seeing. And with some actual dates that it was going to be supposedly released. So I think I think there is, but it's just background. So we're not going to be hearing what was really pushed back or not, probably.
That's fair. We also have the What Ifs coming out in January-esque. We also have Echo coming out in January, which I don't think anybody's watching Echo, but What If's very good. And so
I mean, we'll be watching Echo just because we have to, but
on
Challenge Accepted, we'll be reviewing Echo, so check that out over there. But I will say What If is maybe one of my favorite Disney Plus series, I'll say. And so I really suggest you check that out. I know. I keep hearing some shit on that one, but
man,
really,
that
really
was
good.
Crazy that you would say that. But
it's so good.
All the power to you.
Even Kevin Feige agrees with me.
Kevin Feige's legally obligated. He's financially obligated to say it's amazing.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Next up, we have One Piece and Gen V got a season 2, which I think is a no-brainer. I think One Piece was like kind of perfect. I mean, like if you're gonna do a live action, like I don't think he could have done any better than that. Look at that ass robe. So I think this is a no-brainer. Have you been watching Gen V at all, Squeaks?
I'm about halfway through. I'm super enjoying it. It does. I like how that it's a spinoff, but it definitely feels like a boys series. Like it's 100% in this universe. And I could have not watched The Boys and got into this and still have the same feels. So it makes sense why it's going. One, obviously, how blown up The Boys is and how well it is, or well done it is.
Also, a lot of stuff gets blown up in The Boys and Gen V, so perfect choice of words there.
And then but for like One Piece, right? This is like probably one of the best live action animes that's been going massive with praise. So it just makes sense to continue that story, right? But I think that's the only. I guess I'm shocked, and okay, let me say, because there's a lot of bad rap, right, with these live action anime. So I'm a little shocked of
course,
how much praise it was, but I really enjoyed it myself. And I'm glad to see this finally being, I guess, maybe the right path now, if there's any future projects going on. But Gen V, I mean, I think that's just, if it keeps up like The Boys, then that's a no-brainer, right? We're going to get multiple seasons and even multiple spin-offs, probably.
What do you think One Piece did that other anime live adaptations didn't do? Like, why is it more successful than them?
See, I think Cowboy Bebop did a pretty good job at visuals also like One Piece, but I think just kept the wackiness to it, right? I mean, anime at all overall is just a little wild, especially One Piece though, right? You got this guy stretching his arms around. You got a clown with that cuts himself, or not cuts himself, but detaches himself to multiple pieces.
So many women on TikTok think he's so hot. It's so weird right now.
Oh man, probably with the clown face on. So,
yeah.
I think they just kept what we really like fell in love with. A lot of things that they remake or reboot or whatever the case may be, there's a script already out there and we love it. So use that script. I mean, of course, put your little twist to it if you like, but don't go too far off because there's a reason why this is a beloved story. Kind of like one of these like Disney live actions have been kind of falling apart lately. There's a script out there that's been loved for many, I guess when I was little, so like a few generations, whatever. Stick with it, man. Stick with it.
Yeah.
Stop changing it.
Yeah. I would say keeping. Sorry. I was just gonna say keeping the guy who created it a part of the production was a massive win because he's not gonna let his baby go wrong when you do it in live action. He's like, I'm gonna make sure it looks and feels just like how I created it in the anime. And I think they did a great job. It totally feels like you're watching the anime just at live action. At least from like the feeling, not exactly visuals and all that stuff, but the feeling was like perfect from the get-go. And I think it makes me feel really good about kind of the Avatar, The Last Airbender thing coming up. I feel good about it. I'm a little worried though that the writers for the anime, or I guess like the Nickelodeon version, are not attached to the Netflix version. But I mean, I'm more hopeful now because I loved One Piece so much. I thought it was they just killed it on that.
Yeah. Ooh, man, those Avatar images though that were released recently. Oh God, sexy as walk.
Medical Iroh.
Like, oh my God, dead on. Yeah, I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
So the showrunner, real quick, on One Piece says that they can do the entire story of One Piece in 12 seasons. Do you think they could cut out enough filler? Because we all know it's like 1,200 episodes. Do you think they could cut out enough filler to put everything into 12 seasons? Yeah.
I think they could figure it out because what did we get this one? Like 8 to 10 episodes? I don't recall, whatever. Let's just say 10, right?
Okay.
What I was telling you is about up to 50 episodes when it came to the actual anime. Because when they defeated the shark pirate,
Arlong.
That's like
Arlong arc.
That's like 50, 60 episodes there. So I think they have the opportunity to do it. I think they can. Yeah.
When they get to Arlong Park, I mean, just Arlong Park alone is like 15 episodes. So the fact that they did a good job and kind of knocked it out in 3, I mean, I definitely think they could do it.
Yeah. Okay. And they told Nani's story really quick, but it got to the actual feels of, the mom or mother that took her in type thing, dying and then hiding the money and being betrayed like really quick. It didn't have to take so long to tell that story. So I think they can.
I wonder if they do hit that 12 seasons, which I know Netflix is like, that costs us a lot. So you guys really need to like that a lot. If they do hit the 12 seasons, I wonder if it'll become the preferred way of catching up the whole One Piece story. Because I know for me, like that over 1,000 episodes is daunting, and it's hard for me to even want to start that.
Yeah.
That'll be the preferred way.
Yeah, I know. I'm still like around episode like 75 in the anime. And sometimes it just, certain parts just feels like it drags on forever. And some parts you're like, if they just did the whole show around this one place, like Lowdown or whatever, it'd be cool. But I don't know. I think what they adapted and how they did it in this first season of the live action show is so good. It's just going to be hard, but I think that they can do it, especially for the fact that they're losing Stranger Things. And I almost want to say that audience is kind of around the same age, maybe, So, man, they just, got to get the actors paid again so they can start filming season 2.
Once Stranger Things is gone, I can't think of anything on Netflix I really care about. I mean, I know they said Witcher, by the way, is ending with next season 2. So there's like, man, Witcher was not doing a great job of keeping me attached as it is, just because it kind of fell off a little bit. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I don't know. Other than One Piece, I'm not sure why you'd sub to, especially since they keep increasing the price too for Netflix. It's kind of ridiculous.
Dude, yeah, they are. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, if Max goes away, it makes sense if Netflix sticks around. It's now that they're getting HBO shows.
Well,
Hold
yeah.
on,
But,
what? Max is gonna wait?
hold on,
No,
it's
it's
not.
just a theory.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh my
it's
gosh.
just a theory.
So
Yeah, I
Max
like
has
Max.
been selling off their shows to multiple streaming services, including Netflix, and it's for a quick cash infusion because they're trying to get over this hump right now. But once they get over the hump, ideally those are all on licenses, so it's only like a year or two, and hopefully they'll get everything back. It's a definitely a desperate ploy, but if you read that MCU book, it's worked in the past. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully it works out well because I think Max makes some hell of a good shows and like Succession and Veep and stuff. So yeah, we'll see.
2 shows that have ended.
Oh god, shots.
Shots fired. I felt it. No. Marvel's making comic book miniseries, one about Jango Fett, Mace Windu, and they're going to be adapting Thrawn alliances into its own comic book series. So I've been trying to get those Thrawn books. It's a lot. I'm also trying to get through many other books, so that doesn't help. And so it's nice to kind of think like, oh, I could just read the comic books instead. Do you think that's a better way to... Squeaks, you haven't read any Thrawn stuff, right?
No,
if you wanted to know the backstory to Ahsoka, would you rather read the books, watch Rebels, which I think you should be doing, or read this comic book series?
Okay, I'm going to throw you a shocker. I think I'd rather read the novels and not the comics.
Okay.
I think
You're
I'm kind of
good about reading
over...
novels, actually.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of over... I'm over a lot of comics lately. And I know that's bad to say. But I have not shown any interest into the Star Wars comics. I tried with the High Republic. I fell off of that. The one I started and I kind of lasted a little bit. Volumes was the Darth Vader one.
Yeah.
But I'm just and that's just me though. Personally, my comics involve let's see, currently obviously Spawn. I tell you that 24/7. With a little bit of Magic of the Gathering, I really like that series. And kind of just pick up some random ones. Like I'll have a recommendation later today that was just like a 1 or 2 issue that I want to revisit. That was so long. So I don't know if Star Wars comics are really for me. So I'd much rather pick up the novel.
Yeah. I've come to the realization that I like medieval comics for some reason. Like I really like the Hedge Knight comic series and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I'm also been lately, I haven't been like going, I know Thomas is the complete opposite of this. He's been crazy. So I like those 12 issue runs. Give me a 12 issue run where I can start it and end it in a night and I'm good with it. Like that's perfect for me. Now, Thomas, I know you're like, oh, I want to read about X-Men. So you go back to like X-Men 1 and just start going.
Yeah. I'm a little crazy when it comes to that stuff. Like I was like, oh, I want to read Daredevil. And then I started in this, what was it? The 80s. So I started reading from like Daredevil 1 or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, we've gotten a lot of Thrawn news from Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched all Rebels when you were watching Rebels. You know, I've watched Clone Wars and then now we got Ahsoka. Like, I don't know if one of the things for me about Thrawn is the fact that I don't know a lot about him. And it kind of makes it more interesting. It's like how I feel about the Joker. It's like I never asked for a Joker movie, even though I love the Joker movie. I never asked for it because the idea of not knowing their backstory is more interesting to me than kind of knowing every little detail about how and who, or I guess like how they became who they are. And yeah, so I mean, I'm down. I guess I'll read it. I know that a lot of people have been praising the Star Wars comics, but I don't know. I'm good on it. Like, I'd rather just see the live action stuff or all that.
Yeah, this might sound crazy, but if that comic was turned into a manga form, I'd probably read it. Seeing that I have a lot of manga behind me, but
that'd be
I think I might be able to do that because I actually do own 3 like different stories of Star Wars in manga form. I actually enjoy that. Yeah.
Are they aimed towards like an Asian audience?
Well, some like okay, so. Not really, no. So one of them is the Rebels, Rogue One time frame.
Okay.
And I'm going way back because I can't remember all these names. But it's to deal with 2 of the characters in the squad, and they're kind of on their own. The blind samurai guy with the gunner with the big heavy. Yeah. So it goes off of that them 2 story, but maybe because it's quicker, I feel like it's not wasting
I
time
fly
with so
through
much.
manga faster than
Maybe
comics.
that's what
I've
it
noticed
is.
that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I enjoy Star Wars manga. Yeah.
Yeah. That High Republic is real hard to read. I like it's so bad that I went into my comic book shop to stop my pull list and they're like, yeah, we understand. This is boring.
Speaking of High Republic, though, I just recently finished the first High Republic finally, right? After, I don't know why, it feels like every month there's a new High Republic fucking novel on the shelf. But I just finished the first one. I do like the villains, though. The Thrill? No, I'm sorry. I'm already blanking out.
Chiss?
Yeah.
Who is
No,
it?
it's not the Chiss.
Was it the Chiss? No.
No.
The
It's,
Nil. The
Nil.
Nil.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of digging them, and I like how this story ended with the first novel. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Nil on
more
TV.
of them with the Acolyte. Acolyte's going to be taking place in the High Republic, so we might be seeing more of that. And then we don't know who the main villain will be. It'll probably be Plagueis. I'm hearing a lot of Plagueis talk right now, so that would be pretty interesting to see him actually Plagueis the Wise try to save somebody with the dark side. Back. I would love to hear more about Jango Fett because there's got to be a reason that Kamino was like, oh, you're the perfect person to make 1 billion clones for. And I want to know what's the story behind him.
I get that.
Why was he so cool? You know what I'm saying? Like you almost kind of think there's all kinds of Jedi you could have used or anything like that. The guy that commissioned them was Count Dooku, who was an exemplary, person as it was. You could use him. He was a genius in a lot of ways. But no, they used Jango Fett. So I'd like to hear why he's awesome. And then more Mace Windu is always good. And I don't want them to Darth Maul him and bring him back half robot. So this is probably the best bet. Let's do it this way.
Plus, it's the Mace Windu one is written by one of my favorite writers. We met him a few times. Mark Bernardin. He does Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith, and he's just an incredible just speaker and his thought process behind writing too. So I'm definitely picking up that Mace Windu book.
When we get closer, I'm keeping this on mic so everybody knows. So Mark can understand it too. When it gets closer, we got to try to get Mark on the podcast then.
Oh my God. He said he's down. I mean, I've talked to him a few times. He said he's in.
I am very down for that because I'd love to talk about Mace Windu. That'd be cool. Let's move forward to this MCU book that's taking over the geek world by storm. I'm on chapter 4 right now. How far are you in on this one?
I'm at chapter 9.
Nerd. So much friends to me. Squeaks, you haven't been reading this, right? I just want to double check.
No, sir. No.
Okay. So what I want to do is because you're ahead of me, let's start getting some revelations. Because one thing I love about this book is as you're going through it, names just drop out of this thing. It's crazy. It's and that assistant's name was Kevin Feige. It's oh shit. And then it's and then he was used to make copies and wash cars with Jeff Johns. And it's oh shit, from DC. So it's all kinds of really cool names. What are some of your favorite parts about this book and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. What's some of my favorite parts? It's tough because I feel each chapter I learn something crazy. I'm holy shit, how?
A few times over. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's every chapter. I have the coffee table book that the MCU themselves put out, and that had a bunch of interesting things in it. But getting to hear from somebody who's on the outside looking in, and they're not attached to Marvel, they're not attached to Disney, so they don't necessarily have the bias of we have to spin everything perfectly. I think that part of it makes it really awesome. I've seen a girl, I think her name is Joanna, on several different podcasts too, and she's been talking about it. And she has become a fan. I think she's a super fan now, but I don't think she was when she first started writing the book. And to become the biggest studio in the world, and they were literally just shooting from the hip. Leveraging all the money they had, Marvel going bankrupt, selling off characters, and then to be where the MCU is now and how powerful that studio is and how most actors in the world want one role or want to be a character in the universe is really crazy. So, man, I don't know. I think there's just so much about it that I'm just amazed by it. I think I'm chewing through it super fast.
In the beginning, there's a line that they mention that the MCU today was almost inevitable, but you wouldn't know it when you're in the middle of it. And then they go back and they talk about I can't remember his name, but there was that one guy who was part of Toy Biz or whatever, just some small little company, and he invested enough to basically own Marvel, and was so heavily he knew that Spider-Man specifically was worth $1 billion, and he was no, this is worth money, and everybody's just tossing Marvel to the side like it's garbage, and he just he was super money hungry, of course, but was pushing it forward, and then eventually on the set of one of the movies. It might have been Blade. He was on the set, and then he sees Kevin Feige, who's like keeping his head on his shoulders. He's like, this kid's good, and so he makes sure that the kid's hired. And those two started working together. Yeah.
Yeah, like Avi Arad, and then it was on the set of X-Men. Yeah.
X-Men. Okay.
Yeah, because Kevin Feige.
That's so crazy to me. Yeah, that like X-Men, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna give this this one random guy from Australia a shot, and it's like Hugh Jackman. Like, okay.
Yeah. And Kevin Feige, was riding hard for him. He was like, this is the guy I think we should have. And they're like, nobody knows this guy. He's too tall and all this stuff. And it's like now Hugh Jackman's been playing Wolverine for 20 years.
Yeah, and we're having a hard time trying to figure out how to replace him.
Exactly.
And then there was that one guy that was talking about like, why are you guys, for example, they offered up all of Marvel characters to, I think it was Sony for $25 million. And they're like, one of the guys at Sony's like, nobody cares about anybody outside of Spider-Man. Like, what do you guys, it's so stupid. And now it's like, Iron Man's hot.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, in particular, it was like Captain America, and he's like, nobody gives a shit about that character. And it's like, now Captain America is probably not at the level Spider-Man's at, but still is probably still worth $1 billion in his own right, and they just were like, nah, that's not good enough for us. It's crazy. It's so nuts.
It's such an interesting story. I really think that Marvel, maybe 10 years from now, needs to make a movie about their own history.
I think somebody will. I think they'll turn into like a
even better, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they'll do like a biography or like a biopic of, I don't know if it's Kevin Feige or if it's like Perlmutter. I mean, he'll be in there. Avi Arad will be in there. Victoria Alonso, Louis D'Esposito will all be in there. And they'll all be played by like Matt Damon and Vince Vaughn. And
could you imagine just
Will
playing Kevin
Ferrell?
Feige, some hot dude? Yeah.
I could see Will Ferrell doing it.
Right off the bat, I loved how they were like, there's this Marvel company that's not doing well. So then this charismatic writer and this like super dedicated artist, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, got together to make Fantastic Four. And it's like, yes. It's so dope. Like everything, all these lines getting dropped are so cool. It's really an amazing book. Any other tidbits you want to drop before we move forward? I'm going to, by the way, guys, a link in the description for this book. If you click on it, we do get a piece of the change. I do want to let you guys know we are affiliate for it. But is there anything else from the MCU book you want to shout out before we go?
I think the thing that sticks out to me is the thing that Marvel was praised for in the beginning is like now ridiculed. So the fact that they were shooting by the seat of their pants, the fact that they were kind of figuring it out as they went, and they were hiring very innovative directors and writers and all that stuff is now kind of what gets it shit on, and people don't like the way it turns out. But it's like they were kind of doing the same thing, even with the shows, right? Like for the shows and what we now know because of what came out from Daredevil Born Again is that they try to use the Marvel method or like the MCU Marvel Studios method, which was we'll figure it out. We're going to hire the best people. The best ideas are going to win. And that's what's going to get made. And they're trying to do it now. But then because of the pandemic and because of like all these things, the shows didn't turn out as great. They still try to do what they always did, but people just didn't like it. And it's just kind of funny to me how, back in the day they were praised for it. Now they're ridiculed.
Yeah, Iron Man is such a good example of that because, like, Iron Man, multiple times in the book, they talk about how, like, he's such a side character. Nobody cares about him except for one particular person likes him. But, like, most people don't care about him, so he's always kind of seen as pushed to the side. And now he is the flagship character that launched the MCU. And when they see, like, when Guardians of the Galaxy was attempted, it was like, I don't know, cosmic, boom, they nailed Guardians of the Galaxy. Magic with Doctor Strange, like, it's going to be a little, boom, nailed it. And so now they may not be nailing it so hard, but we can't knock them for trying because they tried in the past and launched an entire empire off of it. So, sometimes we have to give them a benefit of doubt a little bit, keep them accountable, but give them a benefit of doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely keep them accountable. But it's, they just knocked it apart. They got Jon Favreau. They got Robert Downey Jr. Like they casted so well. They hired super well. And luckily they were still small enough to be flexible, to adapt, to figure it out on the fly. Like, remember there's a part in the book where they talk about how Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Feige, I think, and Jon Favreau would go in a trailer for 6 hours and write the day's scenes. Like, you can't do that. Like,
no,
Christopher Nolan doesn't show up to the set of Oppenheimer and just like make up a scene on the fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but that's what they did on a like $200 million movie. And then it worked out. And yeah, now it does it, but who knows? Maybe it's because they don't have that talent of Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. But at the same time, God, the pieces just fell in place for years and years and years. And you can't even capture that lightning in a bottle. I don't think they'll ever be able to do it again.
And it's amazing how important some things were. Like the X-Men animated series was pivotal for Marvel in general still existing. But that was like Fox only gave the movie a shot because they were like everybody was like, oh, Marvel sucks. But Fox themselves was like, no, we have this animated series and we see the fandom behind it. Let's make a movie about this. And Marvel was like, yeah, sure, here you go, $25. Like they didn't care, And like they knew like, oh no, this animated series, there are some super fans for this. And then the other pivotal thing that happened was Daredevil sucked so bad, the first one, that we're like, we can't let that happen again. We have to have full control over everything. And then one thing I like is they're talking about how like on the set was Jon Favreau, and I forgot that he plays Foggy in that movie, but that's how Jon Favreau kind of got into the Marvel circle a little bit there in the first place. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's a really good book, guys. I totally suggest it. And I know it does definitely get messy from what I'm hearing as they get into kind of the bigger grand scheme of the MCU and the dirty laundry gets out there. Even, I guess Marvel was even kind of like, hey, stop talking to those people at some point. So keep that in mind.
I mean, more Kevin Feige quotes have been coming out too. Yeah. And just, the one person he only threw one person under the bus in like his whole time as, CEO or president of Marvel Studios. And it was Edward Norton. And if you want to know that story, definitely tune in for the book. It's crazy.
Yeah. Link in the description for both the book and the Audible list, so you guys can check that out as well. All right, let's talk about the main thing we all care about right now. And I honestly, as soon as we're done pressing record, I'm going to be on again. Spider-Man 2, the video game. Squeaks, I want to get your initial reaction to this game. Does it feel like the old one? What are you thinking?
Oh, man. Just the first one and more. Okay, I'm sitting here playing this game and just shaking my head while like okay, so I can say a little bit while playing the Sandman, just going through that whole like initial story, whatever. I'm just shaking my head like, fuck, dude, this is just so perfect. Okay, I was like, where's my Homelander meme right now, where they just say it's the whole perfect and they put the little thing like image on top. Oh my gosh, that's what I felt like this playing this game. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah. The whole time I'm like, why is Marvel not making this into just take this and make it live action? It's perfect.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I texted this to you, Frank, or not. I don't know if I was just thinking this whole time, but the opening of this game for me is one of the top 3 cinematic Spider-Man moments I think in my life. And I've been watching Spider-Man, the animated series, when I was a little kid, picking up Spider-Man comics. But the top 3 would have to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. When I was like 13, I think I watched in theaters. Number 2 was Spider-Man No Way Home, seeing him with Tom Holland, with Andrew Garfield, and making that movie work. And then number 3 was the opening to this game where where I guess like Peter and Miles fight Sandman. I was like, holy shit, dude, if this was live action, I would be going to this movie every single day. It's so immaculately well done. God, I love it.
I think what's turning me on about this and not being live action is because I still get that glimpse of the comic book Spider-Man, like back in the day, or animated series Spider-Man or whatever. So I don't want to see it ruined. So let's not talk about live action. No, I'm just kidding. That's a shot.
Yeah. I don't think it needs to be live action, but it'd be tight. Like this story is just that good, though.
Yes,
like making both Spider-Man useful and work together, and because on paper Spider-Man's powers are ridiculous, right? So strong, super powerful, so smart. But then when you can actually have both these characters who are badass in their own right, and they work together super well, and then the way they kind of tag team, it's just sick. Like, oh god, man, I don't know how they thought of this and pulled it off, but so good.
One of the things that me and Squeaks were talking about is I enjoy the fact that both stories feel separate. Like they're definitely all on the same team, and like there'll be moments like Sandman and stuff like that to team up. But then also like one's focused on one villain, the other one's clearly focused on an entire different storyline. And so when you jump back between the two, you're like, oh, I feel that's right. I got to go take care of this. I forgot about that. Or I've been doing a lot of the side missions, and they're so obscure. Like the side missions. One of them I was telling my mom about because I was like, man, this story actually hit me pretty good. Was this lady lost her grandfather, and so you have to go find the grandfather in a park. Have you guys done that one yet?
Yeah.
You just sit on the bench with him, and he tells you about his first date with his wife and their first kiss, and is at this park where he's been wandering off to. It's like, my God, I can't believe how much this story where I'm zipping around the city, punching sand people in the face, and worried about Venom. And now I'm just having this conversation with this old man, like it puts the brakes in the game, but I'm in it, you know? So it's so freaking cool.
Yeah. Speaking of the story, though, I do enjoy that they had the little recap of the 1 and 2 of 1 and Miles. But a little bit more about that recap that I enjoyed the most was the conversation between Peter and Miles, because it felt like Miles was hesitant at times, but Peter is trying to boost him up. Yeah. And lift him up. And you kind of get that vibe throughout the whole game, right? Mm-hmm. Well, at least how long I've spent. So I enjoy that duo. Like, it works well. Like, it is. I don't want to say father son thing yet, because, you know, whatever. But
maybe like an older brother.
Yeah, there
like, you go. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't have an older brother, but I can imagine, like, if I did, that's kind of the older brother I would want. Like Peter, you know. Like, he's got his own shit he's trying to figure out, but he's still like there to support him.
Yeah, I want to get your guys' thoughts, because I didn't really care for him too much of when he was first introduced as a teacher with Miles in Miles' school, only because it's like, okay, that's too much together the full time. Like, I don't want to see that. What I obviously want to see is like growing up with the animated series, right? I want to see you better be out there taking pictures, man. Like, that's what I want.
Exactly.
Right. But I did enjoy that. I was like saying this to myself, and I'm like, oh shit, he's already fired. We're fine, guys.
Yeah, that was so fast.
Shit.
Which is a classic Spider-Man misadventure. Like, the fact that his real life sucks so bad all the time, like shit just always goes wrong for him. He's always got J. Jonah Jameson Park. Like, that felt right. I was like, oh, that's right. It sucks.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Shit. Yeah. When you were talking about like how they have the different stories, I do enjoy that it's different stories on another level as well, and that's like their personal life. So Miles Morales dealing with his mom dating again, which has anybody seen like who that is?
I haven't seen who it is. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't either. Okay. I was just saying, I'm not gonna like spoil it because I don't know.
Harry Osborn, or not Harry, but
it's like Doc Ock or something.
I could see Norman Osborn for sure.
How crazy would it be if it's his uncle? It's available.
Ooh,
no, fuck that. No. I'd be pissed off. But even at that, you got Peter Parker trying to do his next chapter with moving in. Well, they're trying to fix this stuff with MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do like that, actually.
I'm a little bit frustrated. It's a cool brother thing, right? Where like you're right in the fact that Peter's definitely the older brother, and he's kind of like trying to encourage Miles. But Miles realized when something's not right with Peter, which has been happening a lot in my part of the game, and he's kind of like, "What's the matter with you? Why?" You know, and like and Peter's doing this thing where he's ignoring Miles a lot right now, where I'm at, and I've seen that in my own life, being the older brother, where you're like, "I'm hanging out with my friends. I don't want to hang out with you," but then you're like later on, like, "Oh, that was a jerk move of me to do. I shouldn't have done that." We're definitely seeing that with these two, and so every time that Peter's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go hang out with Harry instead of you," to Miles, or he's like, "I gotta hang up with Harry right now," I'm always like, "Screw you, Peter! Like, Miles has been in the shit with you. Like, why are you doing this to him?" So I feel bad for Miles in a lot of ways, as like the little brother being ignored by the older brother. And I hope that by the end, which people who might have already beaten the game knows this is remedied, but I hope they kind of had that conversation and be like, "Hey man, it's you and me. Like, what the hell?"
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's gonna happen, right? Like we if you've read any comics, like, you know what happens with Harry. Like, if you watch the old Spider-Man movie and stuff, like, he's never like, they start off as friends, but he always becomes a villain at some point. So I think that him and Miles will like right the wrong, you know, or like kind of squash things and move on and get to a better place.
If that happens in this game, I will be surprised. I think Harry might be good in this.
Oh man, I hope they don't just keep doing this whole like anti-hero Venom going forward and whatnot.
As far as I am.
Are they doing that or no?
No.
Okay,
no,
thank God.
Not that. It's not.
Okay. My question to you two actually is, how do you like the story with it being switched of like Harry having Venom, which was obviously rumored, but we know now? Because I always thought of like, okay, there's so much story you could do with one of the best like villains created ever in any Marvel like Spider-Man line, right? Kind of like the Batman. Batman, right, has some of the best villains. Spider-Man has some of the best villains. And I always thought, like, man, I really loved, maybe because of first name basis, Eddie Brock being Venom, right? And that whole clash with the Daily Bugle. So I was like, okay, well, if Harry gets fired as a teacher, works at Daily Bugle, and that's what happens, and then he meets Eddie Brock, where we could get Harry, it might be too similar to the first movie, stumbling on his dad's project of Green Goblin. And I know he's obviously not the original Hobgoblin, but he could kind of like I said, stumble on this like, oh my gosh, my dad's Green Goblin. Like I think it's like a Roderick Kingsley, whatever was the first Hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm.
So do that same story, but you're just taking a different character, and then we get the whole Eddie Brock. Now, do you all like how they switched Venom to Harry, or would you like to see something different? And what would that be actually? There's so much I feel like you could do such a switching around.
This story, like if I didn't know about outside Spider-Man stuff, I'm fully on board. It just makes a lot of sense from where it goes. It's hard because Eddie Brock we all get attached to. We all know Eddie Brock and stuff like that. But I would say it actually makes a lot of sense. My only thing is I don't care for the source of the symbiote, like where it's from. That part bugs me a lot.
Okay.
Because it's not our symbiote, but hey, this is a different universe. It is what it is.
Yeah.
There is literally a King in Black costume you can get. So I'm like, if that thing exists, then that means there's more than just what they're saying with symbiote. But anyways, what do you think about it, Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Brock is like always going to be Venom to me, So I'm like, okay. But the other thing is like, if they even mention like Eddie or Edward or whatever they try, Teddy even, like I know he's eventually going to become Venom. So I kind of like that they try to change it up a little bit. It's kind of like what the MCU does a little bit, where it's not exactly the same, like Ned Leeds being Peter's friend, not like the enemy or like Hobgoblin later on. So I'm cool with it. And just it's been perfect so far.
Yeah.
Like as far as where I'm at, I've been really liking it, and they got a good relationship. The MJ of it all. Like, have you guys got to the part where you go to the carnival?
Yeah. I was just talking to Frank about it. I just a tiny bit past that. Like maybe one more story mission past that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's where I'm at too. But that carnival part where they're all hanging out and you play all the games and stuff, I'm like, that's so sick. It was such a cool like relationship building, character building moment between all of them. And man, so I have no complaints about it. I can see maybe Harry, there may be a battle at some point, maybe because when it starts, Harry's sick, and that's kind of why he gets the symbiote, right? So if all of a sudden he starts getting sick again because he doesn't have it and he wants it back, I can see maybe that being a confrontation, but I don't know. Either way, what they gave us, I'm stoked on. I think it's been amazing.
Dang, one thing I kind of want to talk about is how well they're doing right now. I'm still kind of like based off like story really, but how well is that Venom is like in the back burner at times because we're worried about Kraven. Okay, then we're worried about Scorpion and then Sadman. And I'm so focused on that and these villains like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot the big plot of like how this game was sold to us was that Venom is the big bad guy, black suit Spider-Man, stuff like that. It's like, man, so many stories in one game, I guess you could say really, but it's like, holy shit, it just draws you away from, I don't know. I guess the main arc, but
right,
damn,
like,
beautiful.
Yeah, it's like there was better stories than the thing that sold us on the game. Right? Like, oh shit, we're gonna fight Venom. This is gonna be dope. But you're like, wait, what? Kraven's a badass. What? Like people are getting killed. There's like, the Sandman is like tearing up the city. What?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff. It's just crazy that you could have made it more interesting than just Spider-Man fighting Venom, which again, props to Insomniac, props to the writers on this, because I just didn't know how they were going to do it after. I really liked Miles Morales. I thought that game was awesome. I didn't know how they were going to top it. And then you get this. Yeah. It's like, I think this is the most fun out of any video game I've played all year.
I will also say this is the best version of Kraven ever.
Oh my god!
Yeah, or otherwise.
Oh man,
the story they're hinting at it early in the story, but as you go, you start to realize what's going on with Kraven, and then you're like, "Fuck, this is." I hope the movie is about this Kraven, and
the movie's not going to be that good.
No, it is.
I don't think it's going to be.
If I'm being honest with you guys, Kraven I've always thought was like what's your point? You're hunting, like that's not a really. I don't care about hunting, but they add just a very simple thing to this Kraven, and we're like, yes, this is so cool. Oh, I'm so happy for it. So,
it's so neat that they revisit the old villains, right? That Kraven just wants to brought them into like a huge story, but really they're just kind of like side villains. Really, nobody's to care about because we already dealt them prior. But to see what's it, Negative or something like that? What's his name?
Yeah, Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative.
Yeah,
and Scorpion again. And Scorpion died, like dead.
That was nuts.
I was not expecting that. I was like, all right, he'll come back up.
Well, did you see Vulture's wings? Oh, you guys are
Spoiler alert!
Oh my gosh!
Spoiler alert!
Vulture's in the game now too.
No, he's not actually.
Okay,
But his
I was
wings
doing-
are.
I was trying my hardest to not say any of that stuff, and I was like, "All right,
Oh man,
we're here now."
Spoiler alerts in the
funny.
description below. Yeah,
That's funny. That's funny. Oh shit. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no. So one of the things in the first game, very few things I didn't like about the first game was like all these times you had to play as Mary Jane or Miles before he was cool.
Yeah.
And I will say you definitely do that in this game as well, but they feel like they took the complaints and adjusted it to where it's like, oh, I'm playing as Mary Jane, but I'm doing enough to feel like a badass, which I think is one of the key things about this game and a lot of games like this is you have to feel like same thing with like the Jedi Survivor games. You have to feel like a badass in it or why are you taking so long doing it? And even when I'm Mary Jane, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of badass. I'm like, I feel like it's to stop playing Spider-Man and play The Last of Us whenever you're Mary Jane is pretty cool.
Okay.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
That's good. Huh.
The Black Cat mission too. Did you guys play?
Okay,
that?
I
Oh
wanted to
my
actually bring
God,
that up too. Yeah, you talk about the
Now I
first
want
mission with
Black
the
Cat to keep
portals,
that
right?
Freaking rod, yeah.
I know, and she
I want
comes
to
out
keep
of the
some
freaking-
other rod.
Hey.
So we're talking about the portal jumping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to highlight this because Insomniac obviously created Ratchet and Clank, right? And we have the Rift Apart game that was kind of like this. I think that's what it was, Rift Apart.
Yeah.
Or Rift something. And that was a big selling point for PlayStation 5 because it was sold on no like load times. Like the load times were crazy, right? There was non-existent. And that Rift Apart was sold on going through those portals. So it's interesting to see that Insomniac's kind of using the same thing they've done before, just putting it in Spider-Man. I don't know if any of you two remember
That's
that or
good catch.
recall whatnot, but yeah, I was like, oh, this feels like me playing Ratchet and Clank actually.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting to see that, but I did like that very much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My favorite part, even before the mission started, was her coming out of the Sanctum Sanctorum. I'm
Yes.
like, get out of here.
yeah.
Like, you gave us Avengers Tower in Miles Morales. I don't remember it being in the first Spider-Man. But then, like, Doctor Strange is there. Like, come on, Insomniac, just, let them
Doctor
do...
Strange popped up before, but I think it was like a picture thing. It wasn't like used at all, I don't believe.
but
I
still,
remember
like,
doing
let
something
them
like, but
do it
nothing like
then.
this. Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Well,
Let
even
him
in
do
this
like
one,
a
we don't get to see
globe-trotting-
him. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I want
Dang.
that. I want Insomniac to get a globe-trotting, maybe universe-jumping Doctor Strange game.
that'd be
Because
cool.
we know we're getting
Mhm.
Wolverine, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
give us Doctor Strange, and then like build their own Avengers type game eventually, where all of these characters get into one thing. I don't know. Maybe it is Secret Wars. I don't know. We see.
Yeah. Playing the
don't know.
combat again for Spider-Man, I cannot wait to see what the Wolverine's going to be like. Because if it's like this combat, it's going to be so good.
So speaking of the combat, yeah, did you get the vibe of very much? Obviously, we know it's like Arkham-like, right? Okay.
Mhm.
But even the combo finishers now, when you have the second player with you, either with Miles or Wraith, is it Wraith?
Yeah, there's right in
purple.
there.
There's
Purple, yeah.
parts where Wraith is helping you. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they would do those finishers, turn on, right? It was so hot, and I was like, this very much feels like when I was fighting, as Batman with Robin. So I was like, okay, they took a little bit of that too. I've noticed, which is, I mean, fine, especially when I'm fighting with Black Cat. So.
Yeah.
I know.
Those are good. What do you guys think about the traversal? They added gliding to this. It was a very big addition
Oh,
to the
man.
game. Are you feeling like it's of use? How much you're using it? Stuff like that.
Very much. I love the gliding, to be honest. Especially when it's at times where, hey, I can fast travel across the ocean. Fuck that, dude. Let me catch that wind, bro. Let me surf those winds. Yeah, that's what I did. But then I got I made sure to focus my points in the beginning of all like traveling for Miles and Peter.
Same. Yeah.
So I'm doing like, what do you call like when you're diving down and you're doing the whole flip circle
loop-de-loop,
and
yeah.
then launch you off and then I'll glide. Yeah, it's so just phenomenal the traveling
All
in this
my
game.
points went to traversal in every way. Suit traverse, everything
Yeah.
traversal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Swing faster and stuff like that.
Oh
So
man. How do you
Yeah.
like the gliding? You think it's taken away from swinging, or it does feel like a great addition?
good. What do you think, Thomas?
Nah. I just got so in preparation for this, I went back and played Miles Morales, and I'm like halfway done with that, and then going from that straight into this. Oh my god, this is so much better. I
Yeah.
love the gliding. I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
sick. It works, and the way they incorporate it too with the swing is incredible. Like you might be diving down in the city, and then you could still pull out your swing at the last moment, and then take all that momentum with you. Yeah. Dude, they killed it. It's just so good. I just don't know how you top this game, which is crazy. I'm like such a selfish gamer. I'm like, how do they beat this one? But it's that good. Like, man, I love everything they added to it. It's been awesome.
I want to give a shout out to Games Radar. They actually tested out like what's faster, swinging or gliding.
Oh yeah.
And they went from corner of the map, and gliding was, I think, like 11 seconds faster. Maybe it was not. It was negligible essentially because it was like 3 minutes to do the whole map. And they said actually the fastest thing to do is to combine the two whenever you feel like it's advantageous to switch. And so I noticed that myself, I'm doing that automatically. Like I'm like swing, glide a little bit, swing, glide. Yeah. And they were saying like that's actually the fastest traversal through the game.
And that's actually what I use. When I use gliding, it's when it's necessary. If I'm like maybe like way up in top of buildings or something like that, or like I said, get across the ocean. Now, I kind of wanted to highlight something too, and it's maybe forgotten since the PS5 first came out. But again, we get a game that's exclusive to PS5 that uses the PS5 controller. So beautiful, amazing, man. The pressures on the triggers. The vibrations is what I want to highlight the most because I've noticed in the Miles Morales game where it was if something was shocking, it was like these sporadic, like
you
throughout
pointed
the
it
controller.
out to me, and then like I paid attention. I was like, oh, that's used.
Oh my gosh! But this time we're even getting vibrations from the left and the right side from just walking.
Yep.
Like what the shit, man? Like it's crazy. And then at the carnival scene, it's like I'm playing back in whatever when the Wii came out. I'm over here raising my controller, put my hands up for the roller coasters and shit. Like this, like it finally is. It's great to finally be reminded of some of these the technology that comes out for a console. These little like we think gimmicky ones, but man, what an immersion when it comes to the Spider-Man game.
When you're sneaking, that tip tap feel is more impactful. I've realized because there's times later on where you're sneaking a lot and you're just like the little taps as you're going, like, oh man, it got you into it a little more. And I will say that the moving the controller for the carnival games, I had the dog sleeping on my arms, one of the dogs sleeping on my arms, and I had to like bang it to get the thing to go up. So that was really hard to hit the hammer. And it's like, I'm sorry, Brandy. She goes, I'm playing Spider-Man, damn it. She's currently like pulling, by the way, while we're recording this, she's driving me bananas. She's like, she just found my White Lotus token from Avatar. She's like chomping on that. So then I threw my hat at her to stop her from doing that. Now she's chewing on the hat. I swear to God, new dogs. it's a whole challenge.
The puppy phase is real, man. That's hard.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Did you guys get to, I forgot, what is Miles, is kind of like his girlfriend, but not, but she's also deaf. I forgot, like Melanie or Stephanie or something like that.
Yeah, I think I start with an H, but yeah.
I might be way off. Sorry about it. But there's a mission where you kind of like do a day in the life as her. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to spoil anything, but you talking about like how you use the PS5 controller is incredible. Like they do something really unique with it. And
I think you should spoil it. I think it's worth talking about. Go ahead and spoil it because I think it's really cool.
Okay.
As long as it's not a story thing, but if you want to spoil like some game,
Okay, definitely spoiler alert on this. Like if you don't want to know, just skip ahead like 30 seconds. Because I was happy that I was like surprised with this. But yeah, you jump into her story. She's trying to buy flowers, and the flower shop owner basically says like this guy or somebody's like spray painting my wall and like tagging it up. So as her, you go and try to track down this person who's tagging things and then like spray paint over it and like make art. But in order to fill up your can with new ink, you have to like shake your controller, like actually shake it. And then you have to do like a light trigger pull with like a analog stick movement. And it's just really freaking cool how they did it. Plus the way they animated too, because she's deaf and like you don't get sound coming from the TV or the speakers. It's like, I was like, wow, props to them. They really created something unique, even for this like really one-off side mission. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was so freaking dope. I thought it was so cool.
One guy I saw on Twitter, of course, was like complaining like, this is stupid. I'm playing a Spider-Man game. I want to just play Spider-Man. It's like, if a lot of the game was dedicated to having to spray paint stuff, I would get it. But they're just little one-off side missions that you don't actually have to do. But I'm like, I'm enjoying these side missions. Just the side stories of, there's like this one part where these like two mascots are fighting because these two neighboring bodegas bought the same mascot costume by accident. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy I heard about this random story in this town, in the city that makes it so much more alive. And I'm fully on board with that. I think it's really neat. That's pretty neat.
And that's what it's just like adding to. I think you're 100% right. If I did the mission like 2 or 3 times, I'd be like, "What the fuck, dude? I'm over it."
Yeah, exactly.
But just one time is totally fine because it's building the story. And then again, PlayStation is obviously dominating when it comes to single player story, which we just got God of War.
Yeah.
It's just adding to that. So, these are just phenomenal one player story games that I could just be lost in forever doing whatever. Like shit, I'll sell the flowers to that girl.
Shout out to Daniel, by the way. So Daniel's been itching for me to play World of Warcraft with him because we got BlizzCon coming up and all like that. So I was playing with WoW this morning with him. And I'm like, you have a PS5, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, why are you not playing Spider-Man like the rest of us?
Yeah,
And,
it's on the.
and then he says, I don't like story-driven single-player games. I'm like, what? That's such a big, that's like half, if not more, of gaming you're not a fan of. And he's like, yeah, I just want multiplayer games that like don't go away. Like, what's this? Like, you can't stand the fact that like once the story is done, it's done. But I'm like, but then you know that great story. That's kind of the side of it. But yeah, it was just so funny. So.
Wasn't he a big Last of Us fan? Or no?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. That, and then even like Resident Evil, like he's a huge Resident Evil fan or
big Resident Evil fan. That's where I get my updates on Resident Evil from him.
Oh goodness, that guy.
Yeah. We're gonna be finally having him on mic at BlizzCon, which is gonna be nice because it's been so long. Ever since he's gotten a girlfriend. Just a heads up for everybody who's remembers Daniel hasn't heard him in a while. He's got a girlfriend and with kids, so he moved the computer where he records things into the living room. So absolutely no audio recording on that thing. So it'll be nice to have him back on the podcast for a couple episodes while we do BlizzCon stuff. Yeah. Anything else about Spider-Man you guys want to mention before we go?
Shoot. No, I think you pretty much hit my points. I just miss MJ as a babe, as a hottie, like this one. Not turning me on, man. I'm sorry. I'm going back to the comic books. I'm like, damn, give me that MJ.
They got the mom sweater vest on, and like the high-waisted jeans, like from SNL.
Yeah, they got me thinking.
She's still a hottie to me, but still,
man, like, no. I'm like, I'd rather just sit at Aunt May's fucking gravesite forever.
Oh my god!
I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Bro,
shit. Yeah. I miss MJ. The real MJ.
Can we cancel Squeaks already? Come on, Twitter.
I'm just saying, I can't be the only one. That's like, I can't be the only one.
Well, I like to think that this is older Aunt May. Oh my god, older MJ. Because like when we see the time jump back when we were like playing as Peter in high school, that's when I think MJ was like smoke show. Now she's she's a career woman. She's got her priorities in order, is what I like.
You mean as a young teen?
At her career.
Well, look, her and Peter Parker suck at their jobs. If let's be honest. Spoiler alert: he sucks at his future job too. But not great.
Shit.
Thomas, any final thoughts on Spider-Man before we head out? Before we hit the next thing?
If you got a PlayStation and you don't have this, you're missing out. Like it's
seriously,
it's a
insane game.
In a year when I thought like, oh yeah, game of the year, we're gonna have so many options. There's nothing that's gonna. All of a sudden, like, son of a bitch, crazy. A new challenger entered the field. Because I think this might be like, and I've been playing a lot of Starfield, and I think this is going to outtake it. So, pretty impressive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's go into the new comic books coming out this week. Our recommendations for you guys. First and foremost, Radiant Black from the Massiveverse is coming out with issue 26 and 26.5. So it's a two-parter. You guys could get both at the same time. We have Something is Killing the Children. This is by Boom Studios.
Ooh.
We actually interviewed
that's a good one.
The brother of the writer of this, and so I want you guys to check that out as a special favor to me. And then we also have The Amazing Spider-Man number 36. Amazing Spider-Man has been picking it up. And I mean, if you're a Spawn fan, I know there's just a couple of you guys out there. We have two things. We got Spawn 346 and Gunslinger Spawn 25.
I like the sound effects. Oh, shit.
Gunslinger Spawn is like the most tattoo-worthy hero currently in comics, I think. Like, I just want a big old tattoo of him right there. All right, let's go into recommendations for the week. What do you guys got?
So, I don't think it needs any advertising, but I've heard a lot of people not watching it, and I think they should. So, we started off this episode talking a lot about what the MCU has been doing, or maybe what they've been doing wrong with their properties. But I feel like Loki is kind of like back into like righting the ship and back towards like good MCU again. And I'm legit really, really liking this. I think it's been incredible. This episode that we got this past week, episode 3, I think was the slowest of the episodes, but still what it means for the future of the MCU and the multiverse saga is massive. So if you're not checking it out, like dive into it at least this Thursday when episode 4 comes out, because it's been really freaking good.
I want to add something to that as well. After we recorded our challenge accepted on that, by the way, check out the guys' challenge accepted. Every week we review the newest Loki. We had said, we were talking about like, this is the most thought-provoking and debate-worthy show that Marvel's been put out in a while. And I want to make sure to say that here, because after, like, during the episodes, we're talking about like, is this version of Jonathan Majors the real Kang, or have they replaced him? Do we have to worry about this character, that character? There's a lot of debate going on. And so it's a really good theory crafting show to go around. So I suggest Loki as well. And then, listen to Challenge Accepted after you're done with it. I think it's a good idea too. Yeah. What do you got for recommendations there, Squeaks?
Shit, man, these Loki fans, gosh, man, that'd be crazy. No. So I'm going to go back in time, right? So my recommendation, because of the Spider-Man coming out, is to remind you of the struggle when Venom has to face Spider-Man, those struggles, because Spider-Man didn't always win. So I'm going to highlight actually the Amazing Spider-Man 316. This one actually has, what I like, I'm kind of going forward to because I caught my attention and then I started reading issues afterwards. But basically, Venom hunts Spider-Man down, feels like he took everything from him with Eddie Brock's life and then the symbiote's life too, because the symbiote was rejected by Peter. So they kind of like want revenge, whatever. So Venom actually wins this fight and Spider-Man realizes he can't beat Eddie Brock on his own. Okay, that's 316 with Major Babe MJ, right? So in 317, I was gonna throw that in 317, if you like and curious to like continue that, it's where Eddie Brock starts visiting his family, and then Peter's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" type of thing, and then like, "No, you need to meet me one-on-one." Peter tries to go and get actually to really when he realizes he can't beat Venom on his own, is getting help from the Fantastic Four. So the Thing is in there, and but then Eddie Brock, because Spider-Man can't sense Eddie Brock's presence, so Spider-Man sense does not go off. That Eddie Brock already knows, like, hey, I told you one-on-one, bro. Okay, we don't get the Fantastic Four involved. So I kind of just wanted to highlight that and revisit some of these like memorable Venom versus Spider-Man, because obviously we get in these movies where he's like the anti-hero, whatever, but really there was this most iconic villain to Spider-Man before, so I want to highlight those.
Good call.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good pull, man.
Yeah.
My suggestion to you guys is, in case you haven't heard of this, it's called Attack on Titan, and I think you guys should check out Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Well, because in just, I think it's 2 weeks or 1 week. That's actually 1 week.
Yeah, very soon, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have the actual finale of that. So it's a really good time to watch that final episode or the final season. Kind of get caught up again, refresh yourself on Attack on Titan, and hopefully they could put it to bed well. I know that it's kind of changed a lot in that final season, but so check out Attack on Titan, guys. It's excellent. That first season, I think, is spectacular.
Dude, that first episode, I'm like, oh shit, what's going on?
Right.
This is a fake, right? This is a dream. Yeah.
So make sure this is a good time to refresh yourself on that, and then get on to the finale coming out. I think it's November 5th. So
okay. Damn,
right,
man, it
guys.
really has to come out when we're going to BlizzCon.
I know. Maybe we'll watch it in the hotel room, you and me. We'll cuddle up underneath the same blanket.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh God, is that? I was gonna say, let me feel your Titan, Frank.
That's it for us this week, guys. We'll see you next week. We're gonna be talking about Halloween stuff and all the stuff that scares you, like Squeaks' last comment. We'll see you then. Bye.
Oh shoot.